This is the worst Ford F-150 money can buy, and here I'll explain why. Let's suppose you have between $8,000 and $12,000 and you want a used pickup truck. Without a doubt, this one, the Ford F-150 from 2004 to 2008, would be among your buying options. But would it really be worth buying considering that many have already passed 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers? What good and bad things does it have? If I buy it, what would be the advice to maintain it and avoid a serious failure that would make me lose a lot of money? We'll resolve all of this in this video, indicating which version to consider if what you're looking for, above all else, is reliability. So getting quickly to the point, let's start with the good. The Ford F-150 from 2004 to 2008 was such an important leap for the F-150 name that it earned Motor Trend's Truck of the Year award in 2004. And to achieve this, the innovations that this truck included at the time were crucial. The first was the design. The identity that these trucks have today was established with this model, and almost no one who likes trucks is going to say that this generation is ugly. Perhaps bland, but not ugly. The second was the interior. If we compared this with this, it's evident that the leap was huge. Modular panels inspired by Lego allowed the brand to easily play with materials and textures, going from ordinary plastic to plastic that imitates aluminum and wood. Additionally, it was the first F-150 to use a floor-mounted gear selector, moving it away from the interior of what was a work vehicle and bringing it closer to what an SUV is. It no longer looks modern, as happens with almost all interiors from American brands from the past decade, but it has its style. And this intention to bring the F-150 closer to SUV behavior is achieved by the independent front suspension built in aluminum and the steering, which for the first time was rack and pinion. If you don't know what this system means, it doesn't matter. The truth is that the truck's handling quality is much superior. It's more comfortable and quieter. Also key are the three engines. The classic 4.6-liter B8 that came from the 90s, although with successive revisions that turned it into a fairly reliable engine in this generation, and the one that would debut for the first time in this model, the 5.4-liter Triton B8 with 3 valves per cylinder and 300 horsepower. We'll talk about it later, but it should be remembered that it was also sold with a B6 engine option that wasn't as popular. The safety it offers to occupants also stands out, especially in the double cab versions where it got good ratings according to NHTSA records. Although we'll also have to review this point later, as a work truck, it also delivers exceptionally well. Depending on the body type, whether single cab or extended cab, cab and a half or crew cab, and double cab or super crew, it could carry up to 1.3 tons and tow more than 4,400 kilos. You could also find it with rear-wheel drive or connectable four-wheel drive. So in summary, it's a truck that's worth it, but it's not perfect, and the problems it has could make you hesitate to buy it. The first thing, because there are several issues, is the 5.4-liter engine. An engine where the preventive maintenance it received in its early years will be fundamental. The two most common complaints are failures in the guides that end up damaging the timing chains and problems with the rocker arms that are responsible for opening the engine's valves. When there are problems with either of these two elements, a ticking sound from the engine will be noticeable, especially when it starts or is cold. Paying attention to this will be fundamental because if the timing chains fail, the engine would need a complete overhaul. Another problem is that although the spark plugs are of good quality and could last up to 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers, It's recommended to remove and clean them every 20 to 30,000 miles because the carbon that's generated from combustion accumulates around the electrode, and when you go to extract it, it could break in two when trying to unscrew it. And before continuing, if you find this type of content interesting, you should subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming videos we'll publish. Now let's continue. Another part susceptible to failure is the exhaust manifold, and it can be due to a crack in the manifold, whose failure is characterized by a fairly sharp popping sound when the engine is cold, and then it disappears because when the metal heats up, it expands and ends up sealing the crack. This would require replacing the manifold. Another failure with the manifold is that one of the bolts holding it, due to heat and temperature changes, breaks, and when it does, in the first phase of this failure, the gasket starts loosening. Unlike the previous case, the noise doesn't go away when the engine warms up and can get louder as the gasket deteriorates. Here the solution would be to replace the bolts with higher strength ones, but not before verifying that the manifold hasn't deformed, because this would require correction or resurfacing. This must be paid close attention to because combustion gases can filter into the car's interior, and over time, carbon monoxide poisoning could occur. Another failure, although more than a failure, it's a wear problem, occurs with the MAF sensors, known as the electronic throttle sensor, and the EGR, both as they approach 100,000 miles, because their wear at this point is already noticeable and generates problems both in the stability of the engine's operation and irregular idle. The engine also has a design problem. The holes in the upper part through which oil must fall to lubricate the entire valve area are small, so they can easily become clogged or obstructed if the oil isn't changed at the recommended times, or if an oil that's more viscous or thicker than the manufacturer's recommended 5W20 is used. This poor oil management would also cause the variable valve timing system, or BCT, to stop functioning correctly, increasing the engine's consumption. The advice I can give here, which applies to any type of modern engine, is to use high-quality synthetic oils because these give extra protection to the engine. The other two engines, old Ford acquaintances, give much fewer problems since they've been on the market for years and gradually had their problems corrected. In fact, the 4.6 is the same engine that the Ford Crown Victoria has. Although there are reports of transmission failures, the truth is they're some of the most reliable in recent years. Although the manufacturer says the transmission fluid lasts for life, I'm one of those who believe it's better to replace it every 30,000 miles or 50,000 kilometers because it's exposed to pressure and temperature conditions, which degrade its properties. That said, and since it's likely that previous owners haven't made this change, you should try to find out if they did, and if they didn't, or the fluid is very dark, it's best to leave things alone. But it's also worth remembering that the manufacturer recommends changing the automatic transmission fluid every 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers, which means it would be the best time to do a kind of cleaning of it. And if you're Ford F-150 owners, please leave in the comments if you usually change the oil in these transmissions. Another thing to pay attention to is the presence of rust in the power steering hydraulic fluid lines, which could lead to leaks and, due to the absence of fluid, cause a failure in the power steering pump. Now, I'll leave you my recommendations so you can make the best possible purchase. If I have a budget for a 2004 or 2005 model, it's better to go with the small B8, despite not being able to have the lariat trim that was reserved for the larger engine. The mechanical components of the 4.6 as a whole are more reliable. If you're going to work transporting things but not towing, choose either the B6 or the small B8, which give better fuel economy. And if you want the large 5.4-liter B8, smooth as silk, or want to access the Lariat and Eddie Bauer equipment levels, there are only two paths. Either look for the early 2004 and 2005 models and do a thorough engine inspection to know if there's any serious problem, or look for the 2007 and 2008 models where Ford was correcting these problems and they're much more reliable engines. So leave your opinions, suggestions, or corrections to what I said in this video about the F-150 down in the comments. They'll be very helpful for anyone thinking about buying one. And remember to leave a like if you found this video interesting or learned something new, or stop by the channel if you want to see the other videos we've already published. Thanks, and see you next time.